It's not magic, it's not hype, it's the shift you've been avoiding. Hey, let's just get right into it, because I'm not here to waste your time. You ever feel like you're trying, really trying, but nothing's clicking? Like you're doing the work, showing up, watching all the success content, trying all the tips. But deep down, you know you're still playing at 40%, maybe 60% on a good day. You're not lazy. You're not broken. You're not even far behind. You're just stuck on the wrong setting. And today, we're flipping the switch. The one switch that high achievers, elite performers, and quiet killers all have in common. The mindset shift that turns average into exceptional. That separates the people who dabble from the ones who dominate. You ready? Let's go. 1. The switch is this. From emotion-based living to commitment-based action. That's it. That's the whole switch. But before you roll your eyes or scroll away, listen carefully. Because this right here, this is the reason most people stay stuck their entire lives. They live based on how they feel. I don't feel like it today. I'll wait until I'm more motivated. I'm tired. I'm just not in the right headspace. I'll do it when I feel ready. Sound familiar? We've all done it. But here's the brutal truth. If your life is run by your emotions, you'll never be consistent enough to win anything that matters, because emotions are unstable. They're reactive, random, shifty. But commitment doesn't care how you feel. It just asks, what did you say you were going to do? And then it does that. 2. Your feelings aren't facts, they're feedback. You feel tired? That's real. You feel discouraged? Totally valid. You feel stuck? Understood. But here's what high performers know. You can acknowledge your emotions without obeying them. Your feelings are data, not decisions. They're a signal, not a stop sign. Successful people still get anxious. They still have off days. They still battle fear, fatigue, and self-doubt. They just don't negotiate with it every time something gets hard. Because if you negotiate with your weakness, your goals will always lose. 3. Success isn't built on motivation. It's built on reps. We've been sold a lie that the key to success is getting motivated. But real success, it's boring, it's quiet. It looks like doing the same thing over and over without applause. Success lives in the reps. The extra workout when no one's watching. The 20th cold email after 19 rejections. The 2-hour session when your brain wants a nap. The deep work block when your phone is screaming for attention. Reps build rhythm. Rhythm builds results. So stop chasing motivation. Chase the identity of someone who shows up, no matter what. That's the real flex. 4. You're not lacking discipline. You're lacking a standard. Here's the truth you probably haven't heard before. You don't have a discipline problem. You have a standard problem. If your standard is, I'll show up when it's easy, you'll stay inconsistent forever. But if your standard becomes, I do what needs to be done, regardless of mood, everything changes. Discipline isn't about force, it's about alignment. When your standard is clear, decisions get easier. You don't think twice. You just act in alignment. Raise the standard, the rest follows. 5. Your word to yourself has to mean something. Let me ask you something real. When you say, I'll start tomorrow, do you actually mean it? When you say, I'm going to change, do you believe yourself? Because if your word doesn't mean anything to you, nothing else matters. You keep your promises to everyone else, your job, your friends, your family, but you break them to yourself like it's nothing. And that's why you feel stuck. That's why your confidence is low. That's why you don't trust yourself. Want to build unshakable self-belief? Start doing what you said you'd do, even when no one's checking. When your word becomes law in your own life, you become unstoppable. 6. Comfort isn't your friend. It's the quiet killer. Look, I get it. Comfort feels good. You've earned your rest. You deserve peace. You don't want to burn out. All valid. But here's the danger. Comfort is seductive, and it doesn't announce when it turns into complacency. You start skipping workouts just for today. You start ignoring the schedule just for this week. You start indulging in distractions because you've been working hard, and before you know it, comfort has turned into regret. Success requires discomfort. It demands that you lean into the hard, the unpredictable, the unsexy. If it feels too easy, you're probably not growing. 7. You've trained the wrong muscle. It's time to rewire. Here's what most people don't realize. Every time you hit snooze, skip your task, choose distraction, avoid discomfort, you're training your brain to associate quitting with relief. And over time, that becomes your default setting. The only way to break it? Rewire the loop. Start small. Finish tasks even when you're tired. Say no when your brain begs for the easy way out. Do the hard thing first, not last. Every rep is a signal to your mind. This is who we are now. And eventually, that becomes your new normal. 8. The gap between you and the life you want is a series of boring decisions. It's not luck. It's not access. It's not some hidden talent you haven't found yet. It's choices. Boring ones. Repeated ones. Choosing deep work instead of checking your phone. Choosing water over sugar. Choosing the gym over Netflix. Choosing to say, I'm not skipping today. Again, that's the formula. Not glamorous, but undeniable. The life you want isn't behind some grand reveal. It's on the other side of hundreds of small, quiet wins. And if you commit to them relentlessly, you get there. 9. People who win, they've already decided to finish. Want to know what makes high performers different? They decide in advance that they're going to finish. Not try. Not see how it goes. Not maybe if it's easy. They walk in with the energy of, no matter how hard it gets, I'm finishing. And because they've removed the option to quit, every obstacle becomes just that, an obstacle, not a reason to stop. That's the switch. Don't try harder. Decide deeper. You don't need more motivation. You need a final decision that this gets done. 10. You're closer than you think, but you keep starting over. This one hurts. You think you're far away from the goal, but in reality, you've been close multiple times. You just keep stopping. Every time you break momentum, lose focus, fall off for just a week. Let one bad day become 3. You don't reset, you restart. And the progress you were making, gone. Imagine if you just stopped starting over. Imagine if you got disciplined enough to protect your progress instead of constantly rebuilding it. You'd already be there. Let this be the last time you start again. 11. You don't need more time, you need more focus. The most common excuse, I just don't have time. But when you track your day, you realize it's not time you're lacking, it's focus. Scrolling, mindless conversations, multitasking, notifications, overthinking. They're stealing your life 10 seconds at a time. You don't need 10 hours of productivity. You need one focused hour, repeated consistently. That's enough to change your life. Discipline isn't about doing more. It's about doing less, better. 12. You already have the power. You're just scared to use it. This part's uncomfortable. Deep down, you know you could change everything. You know, you're capable. You're smart enough. You've seen glimpses of your own greatness. But you're scared. Scared that if you go all in and fail, there's no excuse left. Scared of losing comfort. Scared of standing out. Scared of becoming someone unrecognizable. And that fear, it keeps you stuck at 70%. Here's the truth. The version of you that can't be stopped is already inside you. You just haven't had the courage to unleash them yet. Until now. 13. You don't need to fix everything. You just need to be consistent with one thing. One of the biggest traps. Thinking you have to fix everything at once. You wake up and suddenly want to eat clean, wake up at 5 a.m., meditate, start a business, hit the gym, stop procrastinating, rebuild your entire personality. And when that all collapses by Thursday, you think, I guess I'm not cut out for this. But here's the truth. You don't need to do everything. You just need to do one thing, consistently. Pick one high-leverage habit, one promise to keep, one identity to step into. Protect it with your life, because once consistency takes root in one area, it bleeds into the rest. You stop breaking your word, you start stacking wins, and before you know it, you've become the person you used to dream about. 14. The hardest part is actually the most important one to lean into. Here's something most people miss, the exact thing you're avoiding. That uncomfortable part, the hard conversation, the discipline, the routine, the cold start, that's the part that builds you. Not the stuff that's easy, not the routines that feel flowy and inspired, not the feel-good Instagram quotes. It's the part that sucks, that stretches you, that makes you want to quit. That's the forge. If you skip that part, you skip the transformation. So next time it feels painful, overwhelming, difficult, don't back off. That's the exact moment that's making you different than 90% of people. 15. You already flipped the switch. Now don't unplug it. Here's the last thing I'll say, and it might be the most important. You've already done the hardest part. You made the decision, you showed up, you're here. That is the switch. Now don't unplug it. Don't get excited for 3 days and vanish. Don't promise yourself everything and keep nothing. Don't let one bad day become the reason you fall back into old patterns. Discipline isn't about feeling strong every day. It's about staying even when you feel weak. You flipped the switch. You stepped into a new version of yourself. Now hold the line, one decision, over and over, until it becomes who you are. Final words. Flip the switch, and don't flip it back. This isn't about being perfect, it's about being decided. You can keep living on default, led by your mood, your doubts, your past. Or you can flip the switch, from I'll try when I feel like it, to I'll do it because I said I would. That's the moment everything changes. That's when people start asking what your secret is. That's when your confidence builds. That's when your life compounds. Not because you found a hack, but because you made one decision. I don't live on emotions anymore, I live on commitment. From that moment on, you become unstoppable. Let's go.